Hi there. Happy Thursday. Cheers to you. Cheers to Thursday. This wine is so good. I encourage you to stay after because I've got a new wine sponsor and she is fantastic. I'm going to tell you all about it at the end of this Facebook Live. And I actually, give me 1 second. I always forget to do this. I have to close everything else out on my phone or else I can lose lose the broadcast. Okay, so my name's Hayley. I am here every Thursday on the Facebook page at Basically at Meals, bringing you nutrition tips that are gonna help to simplify your life and really decrease the confusion and clutter when it comes to nutrition. There's so much information out there nowadays, and it's great that we're really kind of jumping on the nutrition bandwagon and making an effort to eat clean. But all of that information can get really confusing. So that's what I'm here for, to kind of bring you tips and tricks that are really simple. Oh my gosh. We just have all the difficulties tonight. Now my phone's gonna die. Bringing you nutrition tips that are really simple, really easy to implement, and that you that are gonna make your life a lot easier. Okay, so now we're just gonna turn because I had to plug in my phone. Okay, we're doing really good tonight. All right. So tonight we're talking about clean eating. Clean eating is a term that I use a lot, and I don't really realize, hi Seth, how much I was using it until I had a couple people ask me, like, what is clean eating? Like, what does that even mean? And I was like, very good point. And started thinking about it. It's kind of a blurry line. So we're gonna kind of discuss like what to do, what not to do when it comes to clean eating, what to watch out for. And my name's Hayley. I own a company called Basically at Meals. I got my degree in Nutrition and Exercise Physiology and started working as a nutrition educator. And through that process, realized that it's a real struggle for people to consume healthy meals nowadays. There are so many other options when it comes to eating, and there's no real reason to cook anymore. We just have a ton of options to get food on the table, and rarely do they include like anything healthy or that's gonna help us to feel good and live a really good healthy life. So I started cooking for other people and really ended up like loving what I was doing and just took it full time. So Basically at Meals is a ready-made meal service. We do all healthy, delicious, delivered, gluten-free, dairy-free meals, and we're all local right here in the St. Louis area. So that's where I'm coming from. As always, I love covering topics that you are interested in and that are going to benefit you. So if you have anything that is on your mind, and it doesn't have to sound, a lot of people are like, is this a stupid question? There are no stupid questions. There's so much information out there. So throw them at me. I'd be happy to cover those for you. And I also send out emails every week going over the Facebook Live that I did and giving recipes, extra tips, everything, all of that. So if you want to be on that email list, and you should, because there's a recipe that is tied to every Facebook Live that I do, plus extra tips, you need to go to basicallyatmeals.com. You scroll all the way to the bottom and enter your email address there, and then you will get all of that stuff. And you don't even have to be here at 5:30 on Thursdays to get that. Okay, so what is clean eating? Essentially, what it means is just going towards the more natural or more whole version of foods and kind of away from the processed and packaged foods. But that is kind of a confusing concept, like what is considered natural and what is considered processed. So if you think about walking into the produce section, you're going to see everything kind of just laid out in its natural form. Nothing's in a package. Nothing has any claims on it. No one is like telling you like, this is really good, buy this. And you can pretty much trace that back. So if you think about a head of lettuce, well, that was grown in a field. It was picked by a farmer. Maybe it was washed. It was put in a box and like shipped to your grocery store. So you can pretty much count those on one hand, the processing that took place for you to get that lettuce. But if you think about like a candy bar, it's like, okay, so we've got a couple different ingredients there. The chocolate probably came from a cocoa bean, which was, I don't really know how cocoa is turned into chocolate. And then there's some other identifiable things in there like nougat. I don't know what that is. There might be like peanuts or something, or coconut. That's great. But the rest of it, this like, sweet goo, I'm not sure. What are all of these other things? So that's a really good way to tell what's clean, is if you can identify exactly where this came from and how many people touched it in order for it to get to you. And so kind of running through that quick process in your mind every time you're thinking about the food that you're eating is a great way to determine whether it's clean or not. Really simple protocol for figuring out what is clean and what isn't. But even with that, there can be some confusion. So thinking about like a chicken nugget, okay, that's chicken, that's clean and natural. But it's a nugget, so does that change things? And that's where we get really confused. And that's okay. It's totally fine. So what we really want to think about is what came from the earth. So this is how we figure out what's clean and what isn't. What are the things that came from the earth and that we can really understand and recognize? And do you know exactly where it came from? How many people touched it? That's a really good, the chicken nugget, okay, it's chicken, but that isn't what a chicken looks like when we get it. So that's a really good sign right there that is more processed than just regular chicken. And so with this, there's really a scale that we're looking at. We're looking at completely whole and unprocessed, straight from the earth to your kitchen. There's farm to table restaurants nowadays everywhere popping up. That's a really nice concept. But we're thinking about whole from the farm to you, and really processed, you're not really sure. It was probably made in a lab. It was probably chemically modified. A lot of people were involved in the making of this food. And on that scale, all of these things are fine, by the way, and I'm never gonna tell you that you can't have anything over here and you should only be over here. We're always gonna be eating somewhere in this in this range, and that's just part of being a human in this day and age, because we have so many options and there are so many things that we are oftentimes really not invested in, but we really enjoy, and they're kind of a part of maybe our culture or our life, and we just love eating chocolate cake or whatever it is, a Snickers bar. So what I really like about clean eating and why I use this term is it just encourages us to eat more plants and less processed foods. And that's kind of the message that I've been pushing for years, ever since I graduated. It's the plant foods, the whole natural foods contain all of the nutrients that our bodies really need to feel good and that we were meant to survive on. So if you think about when we came about, back thousands of years ago, there was no processed foods, there was no manufacturing of anything, there was no food chemicals. It was just what's growing in your backyard. And that's what we lived off of. And that's what, I'm not saying that's what you need to eat, but that's what our bodies are really good at processing. And that's what they know. And that's where all of the things that we need in order to live healthy and feel good every day are. They are in those types of foods. Not your backyard foods, but the produce section foods. And I am not a vegan or a vegetarian, and I'm not suggesting that you be one. I'm simply saying eat more plants and you will feel better and you will reap the benefits. So what I like about clean eating is that it encourages cutting out the processed packaged foods and really focusing on the whole natural foods that where they came from. But there are some pitfalls that come with that. So any trendy thing, someone is going to try to make money off of it. So, I guess it was 5+ years ago, natural was the thing. And I don't know where this started, but it was kind of a food trend, natural. And that sounds like great. That sounds really good. Okay, eat more natural. And that almost like makes sense. But then all the food companies jumped on it and that line became really blurred, and it was like, what is natural? Because then, and still today, people are using this in their marketing. Natural is all over cereals. It's all over, tons of processed packaged foods. And it really doesn't mean anything anymore. So back in the day, it meant, natural foods that grow in your backyard. And now it's like, our Cheetos are natural, like something with food dye is natural. So we really like separated those two things. And so with the clean eating, that is being jumped on and used as a marketing ploy because the consumer is recognizing, oh, this is going to be good for me. I'm going to eat clean. And then someone is going to sell that person something that's clean. So if you walk, up and down the cereal aisle, you'll see like the boxes are going to say heart healthy. And that came from some studies that were done quite a while ago on whole grains and their effect on our bodies as a whole, but specifically our hearts. And whole grains were deemed as good for our hearts because they contain fiber and quite a bit of nutrients. And that's fantastic. But when we take a whole grain and we make it into a cereal, that's not the same thing anymore. When we eat cereal, we're not eating that whole grain. We're eating a very watered down version of that. And so what happens is we start to get sold things that aren't necessarily good for us anymore. So, a heart healthy whole grain, that is great, but when it's in a cereal and it's accompanied by sugar and tons of other types of flour and a bunch of preservatives and blah, 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 it's not really the heart healthy food that we started with. And that's where clean eating is going. So it's really something that you need to be aware of and need to watch out for. And I think as a consumer, you need to be able to go out there and say and identify for yourself whether or not that food is something that's clean. So if you're walking up and down the aisles and something is, which those packages are going to be calling your name because those companies are fighting for your dollars. So they really want to attract your attention. They want to make sure that you are choosing their product. And so they're going to do whatever they can in order to get you as a consumer. So what you need to be able to do is go down those aisles and not just pick the loudest package or the person who's yelling the most at you, like, pick me, but to determine whether or not that is something that you want to eat. And so what I suggest is educating yourself and being able to read ingredient labels and nutrition facts labels and looking at that food and thinking, okay, where did all of these ingredients start from? Because if you're having trouble figuring that out, it's probably not clean. That's probably pretty easy. Anything in the produce section, anything in the deli section or the fish section, it's really easy. That's all there is. An apple is an apple is an apple, and I know exactly where it came from. And I probably could tell you how many people touched it getting here. A farmer, packager, a truck driver, and then maybe the grocery store stocker. And that's about it. And like none of those people distorted that food or made it into something else. But if you're looking at like a protein bar and you're like, I don't know what soy protein isolate is. I don't know what emulsifier number 2 is. I don't know what red food dye number 6 is. Okay, do you really want to eat that? And you can absolutely choose to, and that is totally fine. But understanding like this isn't the clean food that it's claiming to be. This is what it is. And that's what it is. And just educating yourself as a consumer so that you are making good choices and your choices are your own no matter what, and that you can choose anything along that scale. I'm getting a little sidetracked tonight. Okay, so because there's no real definition, like I'm saying, it is easy to get confused about what is clean and what isn't clean. So kind of just using that rule of thumb, can I tell you exactly where it came from and how many people it took to for that food to get to me. And the more people or the more unrecognizable its origin, the less clean that food is going to be. That's a great rule of thumb. And just honestly, with the clean eating thing, focusing on more plants and less processed foods is the only reason why I use that, and why I kind of, I don't know what the word is, talk about it often, is because what my whole philosophy is that if we're eating like the whole nutrient dense plant foods that our bodies are in, really understand and break down, and that contain all of the nutrients that we need, we are going to benefit tenfold on the other side of that. But the problem is that most of us are choosing really processed foods, packaged foods, and things that our body doesn't understand and that don't really serve our health at all. And so what I want you to think about is just on that scale of, processed and packaged to super clean and you know exactly where it came from, just always trying to move the line a little bit, like more towards the clean, more towards the unprocessed and you know exactly where it came from line. And that does not mean that there's no room for what's happening over here, because there absolutely is, and that is going to be a part of your life, and that's totally okay. But making the bulk of your diet kind of over here and making these foods over here a little less frequent. That is the whole goal of clean eating. And that's actually the principle that basically it is founded on. Nothing that comes into our kitchen is unrecognizable. We know exactly what everything is, and the only things that come in are plant foods, lean proteins, healthy fats in the form of like avocado or olive oil, and then herbs and spices. And our food tastes fantastic because we use all of those whole real natural ingredients to flavor the food, instead of a whole bunch of ugly processed junk that isn't gonna benefit you at all. And the quality and the taste like shows up when you eat it, and you're like, I didn't think I like broccoli, but it's fantastic when it's like not some frozen junky steamed whatever that's tossed in like a fake weird sauce, or like so that is our whole goal, is like using all those fresh, real, natural ingredients and making them taste really good so that you love eating them as much as we love making them for you. Okay, that was a little winded. I hope all of that was clear. Absolutely, this is gonna go out in my email next Tuesday. I usually send them out on Tuesdays. So if you want the recipe, if you kind of want a breakdown of this video and a little bit more of my tips and tricks around that, you should sign up for my email. You just go to basicallyatmeals.com, scroll all the way to the bottom, and enter your email address. But onto the important stuff, which is this amazing wine that I'm drinking. Oh my gosh, this is so good. So my friend, Sarah Sabinson, she is oh God, let me fix this really quick. This is, oh boy, we're really, really doing good tonight, guys. I am so sorry. Okay, so my friend Sarah Sabinson is a rep for Scout and Cellar, and she is our new wine sponsor. So tonight I'm drinking Middle Jane Cab Sauv. That's what I like to say because I'm fancy. I don't call it Cabernet Sauvignon. But Sarah loves to work with people who love wine and who love really natural, clean things, which is perfect for tonight's topic. Her wines are all clean, they're sugar-free, they don't have all of the preservatives in them that really give us the classic wine hangover. So you can enjoy this wine. I'm not saying that I'm gonna drink this whole bottle, but I'm just kidding. You can really enjoy this wine and not feel the effects the next day. So this is, like I said, the Middle Jane Cab Sauv. I love it. I'm not always like a big, bold red person, but this is bold. It's like juicy and fruity, which I really like. And so this is really working for me. But the wines that she offers range from whites to rosés to reds, and she does a ton of free content as well. So you can go to her page at Sarah Drinks Wine, and that's on Facebook. So Sarah, S-A-R-A, Drinks Wine on Facebook, and she's got a ton of free content there as well. She does videos, talks about why her wine is like so fantastic, and it really is like you do not feel junky the next day, and it tastes really good. They don't do any added sugar, which I love. So, and I don't like sweet wines, but that's not to say that they're all like super sour or heavy or dry. They're like, this is so fruity and juicy and just delicious. And the one I had last week, which was a rosé called Inizi, was fantastic. A lot of times rosés are too sweet for me, or too dry. And so this was like a perfect middle road without any sugar and without any hangover. So Sarah Drinks Wine on Facebook. She's got amazing content over there, and please go check her out. Sess, I'm gonna bring some tonight, so you'll get to try it. Okay, so the last thing that I'm gonna leave you with is I want you to get my free content, and I do a ton of it via email, which I just told you about. Go to basicallyatmeals.com, scroll all the way to the bottom, and enter your email address. And then also on my Instagram stories, and I know that sounds like, where is that? If you just go to my Instagram page, basically_it_, I do a ton of stories. And all you have to do to watch the stories is when you get on the page, the top picture, like in the corner on the left, if you click that, that'll show you all of the stories that I do. And that's basically me live talking into the camera, giving daily nutrition tips, recipes. This week I've been talking a lot about the water bottle infuser that I just got. I didn't just get it. I got it a long time ago and just never used it. It's been like sitting in my pantry. For some reason I bought it thinking it was a really good idea. I got really excited about it. And then when I got it home, I was like, this is so stupid. Why would I ever need this? And for some reason, I just dug it out and started using it. And basically it has an infuser at the bottom where you can put tea bags. And I will put tea bags in like my water bottle, but what happens is they end up like sticking to the side of the bottle, or they like slosh up to your mouth when you're trying to drink your water, and I really don't like that, and it grosses me out. But this, like, you stick them in a little mesh thing in the bottom of your water bottle. You never have to see the tea bags. They never touch you. And so it's great. Like, I love it. And because there's always like a tea bag in my water, I'm always getting the antioxidant, anti-aging benefits of that tea, which is amazing. You can get like hydrated and your antioxidant, anti-aging benefits all day long, every day. So those are the types of things I talk about, my favorite products, the things that I'm using, the recipes that I'm eating, the recipes that I'm making, all of that. It's all there. So that was a very long story to tell you that, to go to my Instagram page. Instagram, basically_it_, and look out for those stories because I do a lot of them. All right, that is it for tonight. As always, cheers to you. Cheers to Thursday. And I will see you next Thursdays for another edition of Wine About It. See you then. Bye.